Good morning everybody, thank you for joining me today. This is Verity from inkbutterfly.wordpress.com, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the UK. So today's video has actually been requested by somebody on Facebook. They posted a comment and really wanted to see how I made one of my cards that I shared last week. So I'm going to show you how you change this very pretty laser cut card into something like this. Okay, so I've used an ink blending technique with sponges. It's actually really easy, but it makes really nice impactful cards. So I thought I would just quickly share with you how I got that background, and then you just stick it inside. Okay, there we go. So oh, excuse me, hay fever season. So the laser cut cards are actually 5.5 by 5 3/4 by 4.5, the American size basically. Okay, so I've had to cut some very vanilla cardstock specifically to those measurements so they'll fit inside. So that's what I'm starting on with today, and then I had to mess about with what I thought a nice colour combination would be, so I didn't want to do the same one. So I've kind of gone with more of a sort of fire kind of colour scheme. So I'm going to use Daffodil Delight and Poppy Parade. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We will start with the Daffodil Delight. Let's get this one open. I don't use Daffodil Delight. I'm not really a yellow person, if I'm honest. Ugh. So that one's still a bit stiff. Okay, they are stiff when you first get them. And so I'm using 1/4 of a stamping sponge. Now this looks a bit glossy, but the more you use them, the better they are. Okay, so it's just a case of loading that up. Oh, you will get messy, by the way. If you don't really like ink all over your hands, then this probably isn't a great technique for you to try. But anyway, you can see I'm just sort of pouncing on the ink pad, picking up some ink. Now this is going to make a funny noise, I think. It will on the dry cardstock, and I'm just going to smear that in. Lovely noise, and it will look terrible to start off with. Okay, it really doesn't look like much. Persevere. It'll look fine in the end. So just round and round in circle in the middle with that light colour. I want it nice and bold. Okay, now circles aren't always circles, so I sort of turn it round as well just to make sure I'm getting sort of some even coverage, and that's probably as much as we need just right now in the centre of there. Okay, so I'm going to put that sponge away, stick this out the way for a time, and pull in the Poppy Parade. Okay, so now we're going to go round the edges on this. So I've got another sponge here. So again, just sort of pouncing over that, sort of load it up with the ink. Okay, and then we're going to go in sort of from the corners, and again, oh, sorry about the noise if it's making it's kind of the dry sponge against the dry paper, but once you start working it, it gets less noisy. So you can see I'm just dolloping it on. I'm not really being very particularly careful. You know, we want this to be a reasonably quick card, and the more you work it, the darker your colour will be. So if you're looking for something a little more subtle, then maybe don't go so mad around the edges. But you see, I'm just sort of overlapping that central portion where the Daffodil Delight was. Okay, and it's not super smooth. It's not like really what's it called? It's kind of a bit blotchy, but behind the card, the laser cut card, you won't even notice. Okay, so I'm going to twizzle that around, and I'm just going to use a scrap of copy paper to hold that down. If you put your fingertips over that wet ink, one, you'll get really messy. Probably isn't a good look for going to work tomorrow. And also you might end up with some, you know, the natural oils in your fingertips might just sort of leave a bit of a mark, so just want to protect you and the work with a piece of scrap there. So again, just dolloping this on, overlapping that yellow portion slightly, so obviously where they match, if you're into colour theory, where they overlap, if you're into colour theory, you kind of get an orangey colour. Looks a bit like pumpkin pie actually. Okay. Is that enough? Probably. Okay. And then just to what I found was, particularly with a lighter colour like the daffodil, I'm just going to just take a little bit more and just go round that centre portion just again, just to get that nice and blended out, particularly at the where the two colours meet. Oops, slipping away from me. Okay. And let's see, ink all over me. Okay, that's what we've ended up with. Now, personally, I don't think that looks particularly attractive right now, right? But you just watch. So if I bring in that that plain card and slot it in, voila! Looks great. You don't notice all this sort of funny business going around the inside because the die cut kind of takes that away and diffuses it. I think it looks brilliant. I may have to just slice a little bit off the edges there. It might not, even though I cut it down to size, I probably should have taken an extra little bit off to allow for gluing in. So I'll just probably just trim that off just before I stick that in. So there we go. That's how we do the ink blending bit. Let's get the messy thing out of the way and trim that down a little bit. Just going to take a slither off with our wonderful trimmer. So what did I say this was? 4 1/4, did I say? So it's going to be just a hair off the edge there, just to look at that. That's 1/16 of an inch just cut off. No problem whatsoever. And I might just take a 1/16 off the bottom just to be sure. There we are. Get those little bits out of the way. So that should fit in nice and snug now. Let's just give that a double check before we, yeah, cool. So no edges sticking out now. Okay. Well. Okay, so I used just the smallest amount of multi-purpose glue to stick this in, and then we can set this to one side and sort of prepare the other bits and pieces. So I'm just going to run a little bit of glue around the inside edge of that, just there. Lay that inside. Oops. And then, oh, make sure it's lined up. Press that in. Just give it a bit of a press down. That's going to take a minute to put the top on That's going to take a minute to stick down, so I'm going to put it to one side and I'm going to put one of my large stamping blocks on top of it just while it dries, and we can continue with some of the other elements. So if I bring back in the samples, I've used the small blossom punch. This is a carryover from Celebration. I'm so pleased it carried over. When they retired Petite Petals, I almost cried, but we've got this now, which is great. And then we've got circle punch, 2-inch circle punch, 2-inch circle punch. This is staying, and then we also are going to use the Starburst punch. Now again, this is one that I use quite a lot, so this one's retiring, so I'm a bit sad about that. I may have to just keep it because I just really like it. Okay. Right, so on the originals I used the centre colour to stamp the sentiment. Now because I've used yellow on the other one, I'm going to change that up because you won't be able to read yellow text very well on the very vanilla circle. So we're going to use the Poppy Parade instead. Get our scrap of very vanilla out. And I've chosen a sentiment from this Leave a Little Sparkle set. This is a retiring set, but I thought this Leave a Little Sparkle Wherever You Go was quite a nice sentiment to add. Because we're punching this out, it doesn't matter if it's not super straight, so again, just light tapping on the ink pad. You don't need to be a muscle man or anything, so we're just going to plonk that there, just a little bit of pressure and straight up for a nice crisp sentiment. And we'll use the 2-inch circle punch. Whoops a daisy, just made all that stuff fall over. So it's really easy to centre your punch over your sentiment, and because it's a circle, it doesn't matter if it's as long as the edges are even, so that comes out really nicely. So as we've stamped with the Poppy Parade, I thought we'll do the Starburst. We'll do the Starburst in yellow. Crunch. I love that sound. It just sounds like a quality product, as all Stampin' Up products are really. So those layer together nicely like that. Okay, so that's how that's looking at the moment. And then we want some flowers now. Let's mix it up a bit. Shall we do some flowers of each colour, or should we just go with the red? I just love it. Okay, do those flowers. Really should change my grid paper. I've got stuff all over it. Okay. Actually, no, I think I'm not going to use yellow flowers. I think I'll just stick with it. I like to shape the petals slightly, so I put the little punch in into the palm of my hand, and I use one of these large ball stylus thingies. I just got this from a craft store somewhere, and if you rub it into the palm of your hand, you end up with this lovely shaped flower. The tool just makes it a little bit easier. You could probably just use your thumb a little bit, to be honest. Probably doesn't work quite so well. Or maybe the end of your scissors or something. So that works too. So just like quite like this, you can get right into it, and it really sticks up then. Okay, right, lovely. And of course, we have to use some dimensionals somewhere along the line. So let's oh, I haven't stuck that down, have we? Let's stick some snail on that and just press that into place. Dimensionals. There we are, and then let's just grab the card from behind me where it's drying. May not be quite there, but you get the idea. We need to get it done. Okay, brilliant. So all we need to do now is add these onto the front. Just peel the backs off those dimensionals. Let's have it straight-ish. So I didn't want to put it in the middle, obviously, because although, you know, the design sort of lends itself to putting something in the middle because of it, the symmetry of it, but obviously that means that the blending doesn't really come out, so I opted to stick it down here. Okay, and then we will use some little dabs. Oops. You really don't need much of that liquid adhesive. It's a very strong bond. Okay, and we'll just position those, she says, but the texture of the card's just sort of, might just put a bit more on that. If it was flat, it wouldn't be a problem at all. Could use glue dots. I generally use the rule of threes when I'm adding embellishments to things. Just naturally looks a bit better. And then on the original card I used the champagne rhinestones, but we're just going to use regular rhinestones. I think it's kind of it's quite orange and yellow anyway, so let's just add some plain rhinestones to this just for some added sparkle, as the sentiment suggests. So I'm going to put these are actually the old style rhinestones, which had like 3 sizes, and I think the new style in the catalogue actually only has the small ones now. But anyway, so I'm going to put a larger one there, but I think what we'll do is use the smaller ones to dot about the place. These aren't going anywhere in particular, I'm just sort of where I fancy really. Maybe we'll do 5. Just to go with sort of that only I say 3s, you know, any odd number generally looks quite good. Florists and jewellers and stuff, they all use a similar theory. Okie dokie, right, that's it, done. What do you think? Awesome. So it didn't really take long. I mean, I've been running the video for like almost 20 minutes, so that's pretty much it. It's done, just aside from just letting that glue dry. So yeah, so that's it. 3 different colourways there for you to look at. I mean, the world's your lobster in terms of what other combinations you might want to try. Give it a go, really nice and easy. Products will be available. Well, I'll put a link to the original blog post, which has got links to the products I've used. That's what I'll do, and I hope to see you again soon. I hope you've enjoyed that, and have a great day. Bye bye.